Welcome back in, everybody, to another edition of the 4D Chess Dynasty Trade Show coming at you. We're recording this on Friday during the day. Such a weird time for you and I to be doing it, Adam, but we appreciate you guys tapping in. This will come out on Monday like always, just like same, but it's just weird to be recording during the daytime. But we don't stop drinking.
Same. Different, but same.
Different, but same. Thanks for tapping in again. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you leave some comments. If you're listening on podcast, rate and review. We really appreciate it. Helps us out so much. Adam, stop pussyfooting around. Let's get right into it. Yeah. Boom. Let's get some trades up here.
Wow.
We got a double deuce. We got the first double. So
talk to me, Mike. What am I looking at here?
For the listeners, let's just dive into the first one here. This is a two-part trade that actually just got made less than an hour ago. So this is a 14-team Superflex Start 9 league. Keep that in mind. The first deal, this is my trade. I received Russell Wilson, and in return, I sent away Tua Tagovailoa, the 110 in 2022 and the 106. The draft still hasn't happened yet. It's not going to be for another month. This is one of them weird leagues that likes to draft in fucking August or whatever, rookie draft. But whatever the case is, the Russ. And in return, I got Tua, the 110 and the 22-106. What are you feeling about that first one, Adam?
So I would say this, Mike. If this was not 14 teams, I would take the Tua 106, 110 all day. I think, if you're tuning into this, whether it's, on the 4D Dynasty Trade Show podcast or it's on YouTube, and you don't play in 14-team leagues, this is going to look foreign to you. You're going to say, why are we paying this much for Russell Wilson? But if you play in any 14-team leagues, you're going to understand that the premium on quarterback is just so ridiculous. Normally, we would try to tear down Russell Wilson and get the other side, but in 14 teams, especially because this is a start 9 lineup league, the elite studs, they just offer a different ceiling because of how scarce the position is.
Yeah, that's the huge part for me. I have plenty of depth. I need more studs. I need more punching power at the top, and 2 super flex spots make up part of the start 9, right? 2 quarterback spots. So I need my QBs to be on point. I like Tua. You and I both like Tua for this year. I don't think many people are going to project him as a QB1 this year. I think I can pretty much safely project Russ with those weapons, with that offense as a QB1. So give me the Russ side. Pretty good for me in this one. But yeah, like you said, it is foreign to me. It feels antithetical to everything I like to do. I love to tear down and accumulate as many assets as possible. But in start 9 and 14 team, I really need them stud quarterbacks.
And I think there's a couple things to think about here. Sometimes if you tune into this week in and week out, you may think like we're going back and forth. A lot of times the settings change everything for us when we think about 4D sides. And then talking 4D, these moves were made in unison. Interestingly enough, the deal we're about to discuss right now was the first offer.
Yes.
And Mike and I both discussed that the value for this side for you makes sense, but only if you can get back a elite quarterback tier type guy, which he just got in Russell Wilson. So as you're hearing this, think about these deals in 2 as a package and what they mean, kind of 4D'ing them together here.
Yeah, all right. So the second deal, I received DK Metcalf, Mac Jones, Najee Harris, and a 23 second. In return, I sent away Cole Kmet, Jalen Hurts, Javonte Williams, and the 22-206. Same league. These trades were accepted within seconds of each other, right? Because this deal is the one I got last night, talked to Adam a little bit about, kind of formulated my process on what I wanted to do. And we both kind of agreed the smart play would be get another upgrade at quarterback. While I like Mac Jones, but having Mac Jones to having these guys just as my QB2 isn't really doing much for me other than the depth thing. Let me go get a stud. So that's why we made the Russell Wilson deal. So in this one, I get DK, Matt Jones, Najee Harris, the 23 second. In return, I'm sending away Jalen Hurts, one of the stud quarterbacks that I wanted, Cole Kmet, Javonte Williams, and the 206. What are you thinking about this one, Adam?
So let me kind of walk through the way I break this down and why I think these 2 deals had to happen together, or at least know that you can get the first deal done before you make this deal. So in 14 team especially, I want you to think about this if you're listening, watching. the positional scarcity is forced to be a significant greater issue, right? Because of 14 teams, now you're talking in Superflex 28 starters if everyone just has 2. And you know there's going to be teams that have 3, or in Mike's case 4, which really sway the values, right? So when you break this deal down, Jalen Hurts and Mac Jones is a significant fall off in the points per game department. Now, you may say, okay, in Dynasty, I don't have them ranked that different, right? Maybe it's a couple spots back from Jalen Hurts to get to Mac Jones. Probably true. But if you're on a contender, you do have to think about points per game. Now, when I go down to the running back portion of this, Mike, Najee Harris and Javonte, I slightly lean Najee, but it's not a significant margin. I think Najee is probably going to outscore Javonte if they both remain healthy. But Javonte Williams is like RB4, Najee is RB3 for me in Dynasty, right? The other big thing about this deal, and obviously where you really went out, would be the DK Metcalf over Cole Kmet by, leaps and bounds, right? I mean, that is significantly different. The 23-second I'd take over the 206. In this deal, it's kind of negligible, though, right? So when you get down to the meat of it, Jalen Hurts way over Mac Jones on Contender. Najee, Javonte Williams, not that different, but DK way over Cole Kmet. Value side is on the McNutted receiving side here, right? Like value, I would take DK, Mac Jones, Najee Harris in the 23-second. The problem is, like Mike said, based on his team, Mac Jones and Tua Tagovailoa starting week in and week out, even if you put Fields in sometimes, may not give you points per game advantage over the rest of your field. So now if you can hit this deal and then take Tua and a couple receivers, especially the 110, throw it at Russell Wilson, now this whole deal makes a lot more sense for his lineup.
Yeah, I feel much better here. I don't really like giving up the Jalen Hurts thing on teams where I'm like trying to make a push, but this is probably the coming out of a rebuild for 2 years. This is going to be the first like real year where I'm like, hey, we're going to push for a playoff spot. We're going to push to contend. And I have a shit ton of picks still. The 106, the 110, you obviously seen dealt away, but I still have the 114. I still have the 102 and the 103. So we're still going to add some more people to this roster. But from a starting lineup perspective, like you're talking about, Adam, I would take Najee Harris over Javonte for just pure points. Jalen Hurts is going to outscore Mac Jones. I don't think that's to be said. But for the long-term play, maybe Mac Jones ends up being the better value long-term. I don't know. I could be very wrong on it, and Jalen Hurts gets a contract extension next month, and it looks silly, and why do we ever worry about Jalen Hurts? But the big selling point was getting DK Metcalf while people are dunking on him and going up from a Cole Kmet. Like, I like Cole Kmet, but he was my tight end 4 in it's a 0.25 tight end premium, so it's not even that heavy, right? Cole Kmet's probably never making my fucking starting lineup ever, Adam. Not with Hawkinson and Goddard and Dalton Schultz. Like, he's tight end 4. He's never making my starting roster. Why am I holding him on it? And if it means that I get to go up from him to a guy like DK Metcalf, who I'll just slot right in as a wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3, I'm happy with that. So kind of a complex deal, but one that I think you nailed it on the head. Like, one deal doesn't happen without the other. Like, if I can't go get or I can't obtain a quarterback that I feel solid about being a stud in a start 14-team league, I'm not making the deal for the Jalen Hurts, the Mac Jones swap. Like, I will go try to get another receiver like DK Metcalf at cost, but I'm not going to make that deal. I'm not going to go from Jalen Hurts down to Mac Jones. There's no point in it. So Interesting one, but hey, appreciate the help on it. I appreciate the Discord community who helped me out on that one too. Got a lot of feedback on it, but
we talked a lot with the shitheads on this one.
Hell yeah. All right. So not my deal. Now we'll move on to somebody else. We have Marquise Brown and a 23 first being acquired for DeAndre Swift. Adam, you know how much we love DeAndre Swift on this show. How much we love DeAndre Swift. Are you sending him away for Hollywood Brown in a first?
No. No. Here's the thing. We have Marquise Hollywood Brown as a sell candidate based on what his ADP is right now, correct? I think in best ball, Hollywood Brown's not significantly different to me than some of the guys in the range that he's going on best ball. But at the same time, I prefer a lot of those other ones in his tier. That being said, he's probably a late first, fairly valued. I mean, I don't understand this one, Mike, because see, this is where sometimes I think the 23 first hype can be real, where you can play this type of stuff into it. If you're rebuilding and you want to move Swift, unless that first is guaranteed top 2, 3 pick, like this isn't even that close for me. And even then, I don't know. I need at least 2 firsts and probably 2 firsts and a second to even think about Swift moving on from him. This just doesn't cut it for me.
I don't understand where it was coming from either. I see the first is still tied to the team who's getting Swift.
Right.
So I don't think you're not making that move if you think you're the 101, right? You're tanking.
If you're locked into a top 4 pick, I don't see you moving that pick that easily. I guess if you're only giving up Hollywood Brown, though, I mean, why not just get Swift now? But I'm with you. That's not likely.
It's still antithetical to like what you're trying to do, right? You want to play the market value on the 23 101.
Right, correct.
You're not going to go out and acquire DeAndre Swift. Now,
correct.
Man, I know we kind of talked about it before. We've seen like Devy trades where people trade Bijan Robinson for DeAndre Swift straight up. And that's a horrible move in my opinion. It's something I'd never do. I can understand from like a market perspective maybe if you wanted to do it. This one it shocks the hell out of me because I'm going to assume this pick is mid to late. You're trading a couple late first in value for DeAndre Swift. Like if that's all he costs, I don't care how high you and I are on him. Even the market, the community would say he's worth more than a 3rd round startup pick, right, Adam?
Yeah.
Pretty easily.
Yeah, I think this is why we talk about this right now. 23 firsts are being valued so highly. And if you're telling me you're locking this in as a top 6 pick, fine, I can understand why it's being valued so highly. But ambiguous 23 first picks that don't have a number attached to them, on a contending side, the play is to move them in because the ambiguous 23 first is really being valued like it's a 4th round startup pick. And that is just, it's crazy to think that this pick could say 111, 112. And Mike, fast forward a year from now, you got Marquise Brown and 112 and 23 for DeAndre Swift. You're going to be killing yourself. No
thanks. But I'm sure there'll be somebody in our comments, probably in our Discord, to be like, "This is because you guys hate Hollywood Brown."
I hope you're out there. We love people that clown us, and listen, it's good to have different opinions. I don't see any type of win for you here, but guys,
and I do hate Hollywood Brown. I'll say it. I'll be a man. All right, let's go on to the next one. We got Deshaun Watson in the 22-105. Being acquired for Tom Brady and Allen Robinson. Now, Adam, I know the whole Deshaun Watson thing, his value is crumbling. It is tanking. You, on the last episode, are out here acquiring Najee Harris straight up for your Deshaun Watson. Not to be expected, but holy hell, Adam, are you thinking like I am? This seems cheap for Deshaun Watson, no matter where his value is starting to leak to.
So this, though, Mike, is why I think moving off of Watson for Najee was just such a win, because I think as time passes, you're going to see maybe not quite to this degree, but more deals where it's looking like this, where someone that has Watson was planning for him panics.
Yes.
And that is already reflective in his ADP. Mike, when we looked at this, we did the show last week. Watson's ADP based on the last 2 weeks, and Adico FF's ADP was still back end first. He is now fallen all the way to 211. I mean, I expect this to be a free fall. I don't know exactly where it stops, but I expect him to fall 3rd, 4th round.
Yeah, somewhere in there seems logical to me. It may go farther. I don't know.
Because
I've seen people out there who are like, I cut Deshaun Watson in my Dynasty league. That kind of white knight approach where it's like, but yet they still roster Kareem Hunt and Tyreek Hill, and which is hilarious to me. But anyways, besides the point, but I could see maybe he's not falling out of the top 6 rounds in ADP.
Well, here's the thing. Probably not, right? But I would say out of the 4th could happen because, especially right now, it's June. We got to remember
that's true.
Thoughts change, right? And as August is approaching, and when August happens and you're doing startups, people that are thinking they're going to form a contender are not going to want to press the button on him in the 4th and the 5th. So,
yep. Sure.
I'm not saying that he's going to fall crazy far, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know where the free fall stops. My point being here, when I break this deal down, is even with all that said, Brady is what? I mean, he's a 6th-round startup pick, late 6th-round startup pick. Like, I don't think Watson falls past him.
No.
Maybe, but doubtful for me. And then Robinson on the contending side is going to score you more points than probably Treylon Burks is going to score you, or Garrett Wilson's going to score you here, right? But man, your team better be so damn good, Mike. And you better be so sure that, like, this just secures your title, because you've lost so much value in the dynasty side going to Tom Brady and Allen Robinson.
Yeah, you've pissed away all the value, right? You've taken 2 young pieces who have a possibility of going up, right? We know the 105 has a very logical, reasonable possibility of ascending in value at some point, right? It's a rookie.
Correct.
It's a rookie, and it's one of the good rookie picks in this draft, in the Superflex draft. It's one of the good ones, right? It falls within that tier where you're like, these are guys I like.
Mm-hmm.
You've also taken a guy like Deshaun Watson, no matter your feelings, like the minute Deshaun Watson gets cleared and is back on the field and is playing again, he's going up in value, Adam. It's going to happen. He wasn't even cleared, and we saw the value ascension when it was reported that he wasn't getting charged with a crime, right? Where they declined to indict him in the grand jury, right? His value rose. He went from a 3rd-rounder up to a late 1st area.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's kind of taken a hit again and gone back down. If Deshaun Watson sits out a year, gets suspended a year, and comes back in 2023, his value is going to come up from wherever the fuck it is. It's just how it is. It's going to happen.
He definitely is going to come up once he starts playing. I guess for me, the only devil's advocate I'll play, not I don't care where he comes up. The winner of this deal in value on the dynasty side is the Deshaun Watson 105. Like, that's undebatable.
Yeah.
The devil's advocate part I want to play here is this, right? A year removed from football, people think he's going to play, minimum type suspension. He creeps into that, early 2nd, late 1st if someone really wants to go get him. I think what we have to think about realistically, though, is if his lifespan as a quarterback is probably longer, and he still projects he could be elite. But if he now doesn't play football for 2 seasons, and it's that far removed when we thought about him being elite, and then let's say in 2023 he misses several games that year, where does his ADP actually settle? Like, I don't know that his ADP is going to settle in before he steps on the field anymore in that early 2nd, right? I could see him being like a 3rd-round pick when he's about to play, and that not being the hot take. Especially some of these young quarterbacks we expect to take a step forward, and some of the 23 picks come in right next year. So all that being said, it's still a win for the Watson side.
I understand it. You kind of hinted on it. Like, if you're a win now or a championship, I'm a little bit more open to the Brady Robinson side, but it's fucking June 17th when I'm looking at this deal, Adam. Like, you've got months to make this kind of deal.
Correct.
And I think it's open to you many times over.
Correct.
Maybe not for Tom Brady and Allen Robinson, but similar players. Like, I think there's similar deals out there to get done. Like, if this was Kirk Cousins and Mike Evans, right? And this deal's getting done in August, the end of August. Okay, I understand. You're sending away Treylon Burks and Deshaun Watson for Kirk Cousins and Mike Evans because you're trying to make a championship push. Those are the kind of deals where I'm like, timing-wise, it doesn't make sense to do this kind of thing now, because this is going to be open for multiple different avenues of approach later on. If that's your end goal, like, I need points this year, cool, wait till August, wait till September, and you'll be able to find similar deals like this.
Yep.
All right.
I'm fully with it.
Okay. Next one we got. Big boy deals. We got Trey Lance, a 23 first, a 24 second, and another 23 first being acquired for Josh Allen. And as a guy who just tried to acquire Josh Allen, I know sometimes that's ridiculously hard to do. But what do you think about this tear down? Trey Lance to Josh Allen for, let's say, 223 first, because I'm not going to really concern myself with the 3rd-round pick.
Yeah, first thing I was going to do, let's cross out the noise. 24 3rd, like, just come on. This is high. This is big boy shit type players here and picks. Forget that 24 3rd. So really, it's Trey Lance and 223 first, Mike, for Josh Allen. I really don't care lineup, best ball, format. Like, I'm doing this every single fucking time. Give me Trey Lance in the 2 first, even though I see one is the Ruby Road Bandit who's getting Josh Allen, and maybe he's star-studded. Maybe he's locked into being a pick 8, 9, or later. I don't know what Sanka Coffee's pick is, but I'm taking this, man. I'm taking this. Just 223 first, especially, plus Lance, I'm taking that one.
If I told you Trey Lance for a 23 first for your Josh Allen, how often are you taking that deal?
There's a very good chance I take that unless it's like we just talked about with your first one, unless it's guaranteed like start 9 and I'm loaded and don't necessarily need the depth. That's the only scenario I'm not taking. Just that, right? Maybe I'll ask more because I could try to get more, but I'd rather have Trey Lance than a 23 first.
I think Trey Lance really makes the deal because he's a guy you can see with that rushing ability in that offense with those weapons. Like if Trey Lance comes out and scores 20-plus points per game at the quarterback position, no one's going to be shocked.
No
one's going to be shocked. Now, he may be 4 or 5 points per game off the pace of Josh Allen. I'll give you that. That's probably likely to happen because Josh Allen is so damn good. But Trey Lance makes it. This isn't like trading for Mac Jones, Adam. If this is Mac Jones in 2 first, what do you feel?
We're having a conversation. I'm probably going to take that side in best ball or big size lineups, but it's a conversation there. Like here's the thing. I think if you're going to get pushback on this deal, I'm not going to. But if you're going to, you're saying Josh Allen is guaranteed to be a stud and he's the number 1 pick. And Trey Lance, although he offers the rushing floor, like there might be people that feel like he's not a safe asset because what if he sucks in real NFL football? Then it's a different discussion. But even still, Mike, for me, I don't care. The way I value stuff and the way I dynasty, like even if you really hate Trey Lance, you can move him and get something safe at quarterback still.
Yeah, I love this for Papa Shane. I know I was there present when he was asking about it in the Discord chat, and I'm glad he posted in there. That's what the Discord's for, right? That's what Destination Dev here. That's what South Harmon, the shit show. That's what they're for, is to come in and ask these kind of deals, and we'll help you work through, right? And you may not believe Adam and I's opinion, but at least you get the opportunity to see a bunch of other opinions as well. Like, oh yeah, Trey Lance in 2 first, sign me the fuck up. I'll take that every day. So I really love this deal for Papa Shane. I can see the devil's advocate side for the Josh Allen, like you talked about, league settings, that kind of thing, where it's like small starters, 14 teams, maybe whatever. Maybe I want some Josh Allen because he is so goddamn good. He's such a stud. But yeah, I'm with you. Like Trey Lance in a first, me the way I like to, if I just take a hypothetical league, we're having a conversation, right? Trey Lance in 2 first, sign me up. Like I'm over the moon. I'm hitting the button. I'm happy.
Yep.
All right, so big boy quarterbacks on the move here. We got Trevor Lawrence and a 23 first being acquired for Lamar Jackson. Adams. We're gonna drop down from Josh Allen just a little bit. We're gonna drop down a tier or 2 to Lamar Jackson, and we're gonna stay right in that Trey Lance tier with Trevor Lawrence. But instead of 2 first, we're just gonna add 1. So how you feeling about this one? Trevor Lawrence in the first or Lamar Jackson?
I mean, this is interesting piggybacking off that last deal, the timing of going to this one, because here's the truth for me. All right. Now, I know a lot of people actually kind of disagree with this. There's a lot of noise around Trevor Lawrence. To me, Trey Lance is the top of the tier, but Trevor Lawrence is in the tier with Trey Lance, right? I don't believe that Lamar Jackson is in the tier with Josh Allen, Mike. That's not the way I view it currently. Right? If you're in a heavy points per carry or something, and you're a contender and you want to say that, fine. Outside of that single scenario, it's not the case for me at all. So if we just said, Mike, last deal, we're willing to probably in a lot of formats take the 23 first and go down to Trey Lance. What are we talking about here? Now, listen, if you're Vegas Sinatra, you're really unsure about Trevor Lawrence, like, yeah, you make this deal, but I'm telling you, I would never do this unless it's like a heavy points per carry, 4 point per passing touchdown format. There's no way. I'm taking Trevor Lawrence in that first every time.
again, like lineup size would play so much into it. Like if it's a lineup league, how big the starting rosters are. Even then, man, I think
Start
I
9,
like.
Mike. I would still do the Trevor Lawrence thing. I still believe in him. That's partly me, though.
Yeah. Again, this isn't like I'm going down to Mac Jones. This
Correct.
isn't like I'm going down to a Kirk Cousins or a Derek Carr or
Even a Tua.
Zach Wilson, that kind of tier.
Right.
This is Trevor Lawrence, and this is a guy I'm still fully in on, as you are too. No matter how much Jay Rich wants to bash us and bash Trevor Lawrence, I still like Trevor Lawrence, Jay. I still love him.
You know what? And Jay, before I come at you, because I don't want to do that, but I will. I'm going to tell you an interesting part about this deal I just saw and just thought about. If you're in a rebuild, Mike, because here's the crazy part. He got his 23 first back.
Yes. It's not attached with a name. It's his own 23.
So if you're telling me like you need to go rebuild and you can get your 23 first back, which now you can make a top 4 pick, and you go to Trevor Lawrence and you get rid of Lamar, sign me the fuck up.
Yeah, because sometimes it's so hard to get back your own first, right?
Yes.
The thing is when you have a failed contender.
Oh, nothing is worse. Nothing is worse, man, than Mike sitting there dangling your 23 first at you every day in league chat. He goes on the trade block every day. It's like, come on, man. I know what you're doing.
All right. Yeah. Give me you mentioned that. I really like the Trevor Lawrence and the 23 first side because I can kind of just infer that he's getting his own pick back and he's going from a guy who's going to score him a shit ton of points and a little bit on the older than what he's getting backside. Mm-hmm. I like that. It's not a huge down tier for me. So, yeah, give me my 23 first back.
Right. Exactly. Well done.
All right. We got a MFL trade.
Let's get – oh, my gosh. You know what? Players, picks, MFL. Let's get down in the muck, man. Let's get down in the shit.
We got an MFL trade. We got Brandon Cooks and Jacoby Myers being acquired for a 23 second, a 23 third, and a 23 fourth. So not the big, flashy, sexy deals, but we like to feature a little bit of everything on here so we can give you our thoughts on it. Adam, who you got? The 2, the 3, the 4? Or do you want Brandon Cooks and Jacoby Myers? And I assume if you're acquiring Brandon Cooks and Jacoby Myers, you're doing it as a competitive team, not as a rebuilder.
So here's the thing. I don't do a lot of MFL, but I guess since we've been doing this gigantic auction, I've seen enough of it lately to understand that the way this is worded and I'm seeing it, those are all his picks, right? So if you're going to get Brandon Cooks and Jacoby Myers, you're not doing that if you're freaking a dumpster rebuild. Like we all know that. So assuming this is a contending team, 23 second, I want Brandon Cooks. We already did this a couple weeks ago, Mike, with Jacoby Myers. And we talked about we would send the 209, granted, that's in 2022.
Shittier class, yes.
For Jacoby Myers. But even in a better class, if you're telling me I have to send a late third or even a mid to late third and a mid to late fourth for Jacoby Myers, if that still lands me the Brandon Cooks for a second, I would do that again. So for me, the side that I would prefer is that Brandon Cooks, Jacoby Myers. I think it's going to Smithers here. So, boo-boo, I'm sorry, but you ain't my boo.
All right, on the other side, would you accept that on a rebuild? If you were rebuilding, would you send away Brandon Cooks and Jacoby Myers for a 2, a 3, and a 4? Which you can probably reasonably assume are going to be on the later side?
Honestly, man, I would prefer to try first to sell them individually. I'm not going to say I wouldn't take this deal if that's all I could get, but I would rather sell Brandon Cooks aside because, like, I don't know that I would take unless especially in June, Mike, I don't know that I would take a third and a fourth for Jacoby Myers right now. It doesn't feel right.
I've sold off Brandon Cooks before for just a second.
Right. I could get behind that point. Yes.
Part of a bigger deal. Like, I guess I kind of understand it. But to your point, like, Jacoby Myers for just a third and a fourth, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I like Jacoby Myers. It's hard not to like Jacoby Myers because there's nothing else there unless you're a fucking Devontae Parker stan. But I think you could get more like when he comes out and he has like a 6 catch for 90 yards, 95 yards and a touchdown kind of game. And that's not crazy to think that it's going to happen.
If you told me I had to take this deal in October, Mike, I could totally understand if he hadn't really been balling or if like it's all you get. But in June, I don't need to make this move quite yet. I don't think.
I feel that. Yeah, I definitely would rather have the Brandon Cooks, Jacoby Myers side right now. Good move by Smithers. All right. Next one we got Derek Carr and Antonio Gibson being acquired for a 23 first, a 23 second, a 24 first, and a 24 second. So nice symmetrical deal here.
I like
we
that.
got we got Gibson and Carr being acquired for a first and a second apiece.
I like this.
Fire this one away.
I'll say this, man. This is interesting, right? So obviously, if you're getting Derek Carr and Antonio Gibson, you want to compete. You're moving. All these picks are Ty declares, our boy Ty, right? So these are all your picks. You're pushing for the contender, and you're assuming these are mid to probably late. Here's the thing, interestingly, right? Derek Carr is going in that fourth range, which really there's a lot of people that would let you get a startup fourth round pick for a 23 first round, which is insane to me.
Yeah.
I don't think that's correctly valued. But if you told me that I have to trade, I need a quarterback on a contender, and I got to trade my late 23 first and late 23 second for Derek Carr, I would do that. I know that probably feels a little bit gross, but I'm doing that. That offense is going to be better. They get Devontae Adams. They've seemed to given him a little more of the nod towards commitment, better offense, more points. I'll take Derek Carr for that price. And you know what, Mike? If we're pushing him out to 2024, I'll be Jon Snow. I'll take Antonio Gibson for the first and the second out in 2024. Comments, people listening, if you're cringing, I'm sorry. I'm right here. I'm going to fight you to the death. Give me Gibson for those picks that are 2 years removed. I still believe in the talent. So I'll say this, Mike. I can understand the deal for both sides. I think this was a appropriate deal that they worked out, but I would rather have Ty declare side.
You hit it off there too. Like these are all Ty's picks. So we can reasonably assume that they're probably going to be on the later side. Right? You don't really kind of make these moves unless you're trying to push in, at least not acquiring like a Derek Carr, or the other indicator to the hint is acquiring a running back.
Correct.
You're not making these moves unless you think you can contend. So if we assume these picks are going to be mid to late, more on the later side, I'm telling you right now, as much as people want to hate Antonio Gibson, if you offer me Antonio Gibson for a 23 late first and a 23 late second, I will smash that 10 times out of 10 and not question you. Like on my contenders, if I have those picks, you want to send me that, I will take it. This isn't me posturing, but we talked about on our podcast with Nick about how he's being valued in the David Montgomery range. And right, we're talking about David Montgomery as a guy who's like, is he worth like a late first and a late second? Yeah, probably. Okay, well, if they're the same, I'm definitely doing it for Antonio Gibson because I like Antonio Gibson a hell of a lot more than I like David Montgomery.
Correct.
The Derek Carr thing, on the other hand, if I look at this as Derek Carr for a 24 first and second, if I need a quarterback, man, that's a huge smash. Like I will push that out 2 years and I will go get Derek Carr now. And like you had mentioned, he's creeping his way up the value pyramid, right? He's going into that fourth round, right? He's moving up Superflex ranks.
Mike, I'm looking at the ADP right now, and I want you – this is why I think Ty declare's move is definitely the side I prefer. A year ago, you probably feel pretty crusty about sending a first and a second for Derek Carr. I'll be honest, right?
Yep.
Here's the crazy part, though, based on the market value. Mike, I want you to think about this. Dynasty degenerates, shitheads, everyone tuning in. 311 is the last quarterback off the board before Derek Carr in startups right now, and that's Justin Fields.
Crazy, right?
I want you to think about that. Derek Carr is coming off at 406, and the quarterback right in front of him in startups is Justin Fields. Like, right or wrong, he has significantly risen up the ranks in the value game. So, man, on the contending side, like, if you need a quarterback and you're not sending anything but picks back, you may have to spend a first and a second for way worse than Derek Carr right now.
Sign me up for the Ty declare side. Bravo. I like that side. I like the construction of the deal. It makes sense. Full send. All right. Speaking of Justin Fields.
Speaking of the man, yeah.
And Mello Nello, our boy Mello. Usually on the trade show. We got him on here, hopefully for a better reason. We got Mello Nello acquiring Justin Fields, and in return, he sent away Deshaun Watson, Brevin Jordan, and a 23 third-round pick. Which side do you like here? Do you like the Watson, Brevin Jordan in the third side, or would you rather be on Mello's side with the Justin Fields?
I'll be honest. This one to me is Fields. Pretty simply. I don't even care if you're rebuilding here, Mike. Like, I guess if you're rebuilding, you're saying at some point, I know for sure that Watson is going to be a good quarterback because we've seen it. I just don't know how long it's going to be. Where with Justin Fields, like we love his youth, we love his upside, but we haven't seen him be great. That being said, I don't really care what your build is. I know what Fields is. I know his prospect. I know his upside. I'd rather have him straight up than Watson right now. And I think when I get to a deal like this, I don't care if it's best baller lineup, a third and Brevin Jordan, like if that's what it takes for me to get off of the landmine, you can have him.
Yeah, we did a Brevin Jordan show, a Scott Connor special.
Right.
And Scott Connor himself has made this exact deal. Not exact. I don't know if the third was involved, but Watson and Brevin for Fields. I like the deal for Scott, and I like the deal for Melo. Even if you toss in the third, I'm cool with that. Just whatever it takes to kind of grease the wheels and get this over the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
Brevin Jordan is the guy I'm okay betting against.
Right.
We did the whole podcast on him, right? The Brevin Jordan podcast. That's the guy I'm willing to bet against. Not because I hate the guy or I have anything personal. It's just like Scott has mentioned, those type of tight ends rarely ever hit or return like meaningful production. And if he does kind of hit with his profile, you can buy back in later. So if I'm going to make that bet in my other leagues and send him away, I'm very cool with just tacking him onto some deal like this to get the thing I want, because I definitely want Fields over Watson straight up. Not a question. And if at all, like you had said, Adam, if all it takes is Brevin Jordan in a third, just kind of grease the wheels to make him feel better, to push it over, even in a best ball where I usually like just to stack assets, fuck it, man. I'll send it because I know what Justin Fields is going to give me this year, and I believe in him long term.
And another real quick point, even in best ball, I want you to think about this. If you are a team that needs to contend, boy, making this now is so safe, and you've given up so little to guarantee a quarterback all season that still has a rushing floor. I don't know if his upside is crazy elite, but he has some upside because his floor is legit. And this is all you have to pay is Brevin Jordan and a 23 third to get off of a landmine. If you're a contender, Deshaun Watson may not give you anything. So, Melo, great move for you, in my opinion.
Love it. Bravo, Melo. We don't get to say it much on this show, but we appreciate you for this one. Good job, buddy.
Maybe Melo will start talking to us again. Love you, Melo.
Maybe we will get back in his good graces. All right, last one we got here. We got DK Metcalf and DeAndre Swift being acquired for Kyle Pitts, David Bell, and Breece Hall. Now, the David Bell one, there's something that doesn't fit in this deal, and he's the guy. But the rest of these pieces are some big boy pieces. You want DK Metcalf and DeAndre Swift, Adam, or do you want Kyle Pitts, David Bell, and Breece Hall?
So for me, I would say this one's pretty easy. I'll just do it like this. Personally, I'd probably lean slightly Pitts over Swift, but to me, that you can basically wash those two for me, like based on my values and kind of what ADP says. And then I don't care what ADP says, but it also is agreeing with me currently that it's Breece Hall over DK Metcalf. The weird part, when speaking of something that doesn't belong, is somehow they're getting the David Bell plus too.
Yeah.
So, Broken Bottle has got the glue, and he's fixed that bottle up. The bottle's intact now. So, way to go, Kyle Pitts, David Bell, Breece Hall, easy.
You hit it on the head when I was looking at this trade and trying to break it down for me. ADP wise, Pitts and Swift, whoever you want. If you like Swift or you like Pitts, tight end premium, non-tight end premium. The ADP we're going off of, they're still literally like neck and neck right next to each other.
Right.
If you want one or the other, I don't give a shit. Like, pick one. Okay. So they're that close where I just cancel them the fuck out.
Right.
Like, if I saw a deal that got traded 1-for-1 right now, I'd be like, I don't know, man. I don't care how much like context you provide on this. I don't know who the hell I would pick. So we'll just knock them out of the deal and they knock it off. Like you said, then Breece Hall for DK Metcalf. Well, market says Breece Hall. My heart says Breece Hall. My head says Breece Hall.
My bourbon says Breece Hall.
My UV blue says Breece Hall. And you just get David Bell like thrown in. Like, geez, man, I don't know. DK is fine. You know, you and I haven't dunked on him as much. And like, I went out and got him. You saw him in the first one. Like, I like him more than most people, but market shit all over him right now.
Well,
and Breece Hall is so much higher than he is. God, man, give me the running back for my running back over wide receiver thing. Give me the player that the market tells me. Give me the value of Breece Hall. And then you're just going to give me a free David Bell as well.
Well, this is the crazy part. We both think so similarly. We did this the same way. I'm going to give you another way you could look at this, which really tells you the craziness of it. So DeAndre Swift and Breece Hall are going 3 picks different in ADP.
That's it? Oh, wow.
So if you're telling me that I have to trade back from 207 to 210,
and it's going to cost me a David Bell.
And what you're going to do is, so think about this. If I just went startup picks, this is where I think the 4D process, real quick before we get out of here, is a good thing to think about. DeAndre Swift says 207. Breece Hall says 210 on the startup side, okay? 3 picks, and I still get a running back that I really like. I'm cool. Now what's crazy is Kyle Pitts is a early second as well, or a late first. 201, 112, whatever you want to say. DK Metcalf's a third. And then David Bell. So you're getting a first and 210 for 207 and 310, and you're getting the plus. Like this is just, I don't care how you slice it, carve it, whatever you put on the toppings, this is gross.
Yeah, David Bell does not influence, make or break this deal for me at all. It's just kind of like, hey, well, he's in there for free. Cool.
Right.
Appreciate it. Like, if you take him completely out, I still want the Pitts and Breece Hall side. I still want that.
Easy.
And like you broke it down there. Like, if you think Swift and Breece Hall are similar, right, and you're going to trade back a few spots, well, maybe that's where David Bell comes into. Here's your plus. Okay, I get it. So now if we go to the other part and you compare Pitts and Metcalf, it's like, that's not a comparison here. It's not even close. We were just talking about with Nick about it. Like, is Kyle Pitts the most unattainable asset in Dynasty? Well, apparently not. Apparently, if you've got DK Metcalf and DeAndre Swift, you send Pitts away and then you attach Breece Hall and David Bell to it. I don't get it. But whatever. Hey, give me the Kyle Pitts, Breece Hall, David Bell side. I love that one for him. Good job, Broken Bottle.
Easy. The broken bottle is fixed. And I think that's all the deals we have today. I appreciate you guys tapping into us again. Love doing these deals. And, man, the patrons keep bringing us some really good deals for us to review.
Hell yeah. As always, I didn't touch on it earlier, but if you want these on here, patreon.com/South Harmony, get you into our Discord, patreon.com/allgas, get you into Destination Devi. 2 different trade channels in there. Post away. I will go through and pick and choose and come here to entertain you every week, every Monday. But we thank you so much for tapping in. We're going to let you bounce out of here. This went a little bit longer, but we had 9 good deals. And, of course, I got to kick it off with a multi-layered deal, right, Adam? We got to go two-part. That's my bad.
It's a multi-layered cake with McNutted, so we appreciate it, guys.
Thank you for tuning in. We're out of here. Peace.
Peace.